Okay, so I'd like to apologize to those who are HMG fans who I kind of I kind of ran out of time last night before bed. So I'm going to finish up what we're doing here, what I was doing, which is the third round. So bear with me as I do a little bit of. I should have done this before, but okay, let's do that. All right, I'm trying to do the best I can here. It's not always the best of angles, but that's pretty much everything. So this is where we left off, and again, I'm doing this recording. I'm not doing it live as far as with people watching. I'm doing this, and I'm gonna make it live later. So again, apologies about having to cut it short, but sometimes your time just runs out. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up the third round. We're going to get things set up as far as where the final round will start. So what do we have here? Let's just take stock for a little bit. We have 10 golfers in the A categories, the A plus through A minus. That's not ideal because what we would like is 12. Can't always get that. So what that means is that we're going to have to find 2 golfers in B plus. And I'm still somewhat trying to come up with an idea of how we're going to do that. But part of me thinks we should just take the 2 best golfers. But then I think what we're going to do is we're going to split it in half, shuffle it up, and shuffle it up, split it in half, and then maybe use the decider die to give us an idea how we're going to do it. But first, what we do is we're going to take everybody from B down. So we'll take the B golfers, and I like I've showed you before, I like to put the letter grade on top, so that way I know that letter grade is for the pack behind it, and then I just line them up here. So then C plus will go on top of the C plus golfers, and then what I will do is I will update the my spreadsheet. So I have a spreadsheet where it basically does all of the calculations on its own. So it really just automates things and makes things a little bit easier. The calculations are automated for the overall winnings and things like that as well. So that's really nice. So we end up with a little pile here like this. Now some of these B plus cards are also going to go in there, but 2 of the B plus guys are going to end up in the final round. Okay, so I just put them in this. This is a leftover baggie. I just try and keep things separate where possible. Now, what else? There was something else I wanted to do before. Oh, well, one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to get out the score sheet so that way I can start loading things up once we're ready to go. So this is my binder. You can see here that I have sort of my rules, my tenets for what we're doing here, and in here I have a pocket that has extra score sheets, and I think we're going to do twosomes for this tournament. I don't know what they did in real life at Sawgrass, but I think we'll do twosomes. And I keep all of my old score sheets in here, so you can see right there is from the Lone Star Open on the TGT. So we've got that. And so from this point, we're going to I'm going to load this onto my I have a binder here. Not a binder, a clipboard. And bear with me for a second, so that way I'm going to use a little bit of nifty technology here to do that. So you can see this now. I'm going to put here, I like to line at the top here with either TGT or Slacker, so that way I know which one it is. And this is going to be the 2018 Sawgrass Championship. And this course is the Players Club with a double A. If you're interested, I had a question in the previous video. I'll write that right up there at the top. Course Pack 5 is where this is located. If you are interested in purchasing that, you can go to play.com, and we will be determining the conditions for the round later. But as of this moment, what we will do is come back out here to this big spread, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move. Actually, let's take this. I'm going to move this stuff over here. So try and do this without jeopardizing my order, and I just did. Service was first, and then Yun Lee Song. So if you've watched any of these in the past, you will know that Kimes and Co have the chance to be leaders here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the decider die to decide how and where players are located. Now, the other thing we need to use is in our book here, we did that roll yesterday. The target score is going to be 274. So when we go to our chart here, scoring key for contenders, what we're going to do is we're going to use 273 to 277 column right there. If I can get some light on it so you can see. So that's going to set us down where our leaders are going to be. So this is a par 72 course. Sawgrass is. So A plus will be 13 under. Wait, no. 14, 16, 216. So either 11 or 10 under. And so 14 under is our target score. So I'm going to get out my score placards here. I'm going to put them up here like this. So 13. Need to have a little bit of space here. 11. All right, so again, let me double check this. So 205 is the lowest starting score for the final round, and 205 off of 216 is actually, that's 11 under, right? It's my bad. 11 under will be where they start. 205, that's 206, 207, 208. And then we will do the rest once I clear out two of these columns, because I only have so much room here. All right, so we're going to start with, we're going to go in reverse, we're going to go in regular order. We're going to go in with Kimes first and then Co, Service and then Lee Song, and then we will just, so Kimes first will be, we will see whether or not he is, so if it's a dot, he goes to 11 under. If it's not, then he goes to 10 under. And it is a dot. So Jimmy Kimes, who will get a attorney perk or issue, and we will decide those before or once this is over. He will be the leader. Will he be tied with Co here? And we will roll this out, and he will not. So Co is going to be at -10. Okay, so now the A pluses are out of the way. Now it'll be Kenny Service will be the next one to go, and he will be at either -9 or -8. And I've got to move some of this stuff out of the way here. Don't quite have enough room. And Service will be at -9. He is at 207. And now Yun Lee Song, he'll be at -8. So that's the early part of the scoreboard here. Okay, so now we will take and get regular A out of here. And now we're going to take -7, which will be for A minus, -6 as well, and then -5 will be for B plus, as well as -4. And so we're going to have to figure out, we're going to have to make a couple decisions here. But first, let's take care of A minus, and I'm going to move B plus over a little more because we are kind of, these are going to stack up here to the right. So it'll be Kenji Morita first. He'll be at -7. David Alvestad. Also, Ji-Woon Ko, I forgot to mention, he also gets a tourney perk or issue. He will also be at -7, Alvestad. Gil Granbury, one of the tour money leaders at the moment. He'll also be at -7. Leon Bay. Well, we're going to have 4 guys at least at -7. We got Jeremiah James now. That popped up too. Let's get the A minus out here. So, will Nate Killo give us a sextet at -7, or will he be the lone -6 guy? Wow, that happens every once in a while. But I shook that thing up, so nobody's gonna be at -6 now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start to apply things to the score sheet. So I'm just going to move this stuff up here a little bit and come back here, because what we're going to do is we're going to go first place going into the final round will be Jimmy Kimes. And his score is 205 through 3 rounds, and he is the leader. The second place is going to be Ji-Woon Ko. He is at 206, and he's 1 behind. And then 3 will be Kenny Service. 207, 2 back. 4th will be Yun Lee Song. 208, 3 behind. Okay, and so here we have this log jam coming up. Tied for 5th is going to be Kenji Morita. And so I'm just going to write it on the top line here and also the top line over here, because we're going to have 6. So that's at 209, 4 behind. David Alvestad. And then we're going to say tied for 5th still with a 209, 4 back. That'll be Gil Granbury. Leon Bay. Jeremiah James. And Nate Killo. Okay. So, and the reason that I'm doing this is so I can kind of like to adjust things a little more here and get some stuff out of the way for the moment. So, because we got to do a little bit of rolling here. So, actually, I'll back this out so you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to pile these guys up here on -7. Okay, Morita. Alvestad, Granbury, Bay, James and Kilo. Okay. So -6 is not inhabited, so we're going to have -5 up here and -4. So we're going to need 2 players. And what we're going to do first is we're going to decide which of these guys are going to be the players. And then from there we will decide which is going to be, or whether they'll be -5 or -4. So just trying to shuffle these up a little bit. Let's see. Let's divide them into 2 piles. That's about right. So the first pile, dot will be draw, blank will be top. It'll be dot, so we're going to draw the first pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6, we can go up to 18, and it's a 4. So this will be one of our golfers, Denny Rowetter. Just going to put him right up there for now. The rest of these guys are going to contend with B+. They have a chance to be an emerging contender late in the final round. So I'm going to put these guys right up here on B+. The next pile, we will roll again on the decider die. And it's again going to be a draw golfer. So let's 3, 4, 5, 6, 17. So it's going to be this one right here. Dale George. We haven't seen him too much yet, so maybe he'll get lucky here and put together a real good round. We'll see. Doesn't have many traits on his card. Again, all these guys end up going over here to our B+. Okay, so now we have to take Rowetter and George and decide which of these is going, whether they're going to -5 or -4. So Rowetter is going to be -5, and my decider die is getting a lot of dots. There's a one that's not. So George will be at -4, so we can complete this. So this will be tie. This will be 11th and 12th. 11th will be Denny Rowetter. And he is with a 211. And that is 6 behind, and then 7 behind will be Dale George. And again, with this tournament, what we're going to do, if you watched the previous tournament I had on here, 1 second, I need to take a drink. We're going to use what I call the strokes back rule, or maybe I should call it the strokes back with holes to play rule, which is if you have more strokes between you and the leader than you have holes to play, and that mostly is talking about up to 16. I'd say if you make it to the 16th and you're still within, well, okay, let's say you make it to the 13th hole and you're still within 6 of the lead, you're probably going to finish it out. So anyway, so again, we can then do a little more here. We've got, I'm going to tilt the camera a little bit so that way I can get the bottom of the sheet. So what we do is we take these here, and we do the reverse order for pairings. So it's going to be Denny Rowetter who will be the first to tee off for our coverage. Actually, I'm going to make a change here. My change is just going to be, I'm just going to use the last names because it's a little bit thin. unless there's some confusion. So then Dale George be next. So then the next pairing up, and again we're going to kind of go from reverse order from the leaderboard. So it's more or less how guys came off the pair, the groups of cards in the third round. So I did it again. Started to write his first name. James and Kilo. Kilo will get a tourney perk or issue. We'll make sure to do that before we're done here today. It's going to be Granbury and Bay. And then the next pairing will be Morita and Alvestad. Then Service, Kenny Service and Yun Lee Song. And finally, the lead pairing will be Jimmy Kimes and then Ji Woon Ko. Made a little mistake right there at the bottom. So there you go. I still need to fill in my pars. Okay, so we've got a couple more things that we need to do here before we take care of some other business. I probably won't start this until Friday night or Saturday morning, but start the final round. But okay, first off, we are in need of a weather condition for the final round, so let's do that. And this is going to be subtropical, right? I think we're going to say southern U.S. is going to be your humid subtropical. And it's in May, so 11, 22, or 66 when we roll. The green and the white would give us some different conditions. You could either get a rainy day, which changes things a little bit. Windy, it makes them much tougher conditions. And then 66 would be slow greens, and all golfers will get a laser quality. Just means that some of the tougher greens become easier, so it should make the scoring better. So we're going to roll them here. 46, we don't get any of those effects. It's going to be normal conditions at the Players Club. So we're going to put normal. Okay. And I think the last thing left to do for this particular tournament is I need to get my book. And right here's my book. I have the perks and issues ready to write them down. And we just need this page here. And I should have taken a picture of it, and I didn't. Did I? I can't remember if I did. Let me see if I can add a photo. Did I take a photo of it? I didn't, so that's okay. What we're going to do is we'll do this. I'll put the card up here so you can see it when we do it. So I'm going to take these two, and I'm going to do the zoom in. I'm going to get rid of. Actually, let's do it this way. We will add another photo, but then we're just going to zoom to the box. So here we go. So what we're going to do is the white will be first, green will be second. And so the way that this sheet works is, as you can see, there's a category for these perks. Like if you get a 1 on the white die, it will be a caddy. 2 would be sponsor, 3 media, 4 clubhouse, 5 trainer, and 6 internal. So, and then from the green die, you get each of these subcategories, and we might have to roll another thing if that comes up. So for Jimmy Kimes first, actually we'll go in reverse order this time. We're going to go Nate Kilo first. he's the lowest on the totem pole here. And it'll be a 2 on the white die, which is sponsor, and a 4. He's going to start the round with... So Kilo will start the round with a certain number of red chips. To determine that, we're going to roll the black die. It'll be 3. Start with 3 red chips. Now, this is where it gets important because there's a question mark right here, if you can see. What this means is that if for issues with a question mark symbol, we roll the decider die, and the bullet would indicate it's going to be until further notice. Now, what that would do is it would help. This would help the last person to have gotten a TFN and it's an injury. I think it's Rafael Merez. He would become healthy for the next tournament if this comes up a dot. So, and it isn't, so it will only be for this tournament. Nate Kilo will start with 3 red chips. And now I make sure to write it here on the page. And Jeremiah James, we're going to put him in here too because he's also in that same group. And maybe should have rolled him first, but we're doing it the way we call it, so we're going to call James next. Then it'll be Co, and then it will be Kimes. We'll say it that way because Kilo actually rates lower in the pairing. So here we go. So a 6... for the white die is internal, and then a 3, he gains the lucky quality. Okay, and if we read the fine print here, lucky golfers always have at least 1 blue chip. If a lucky golfer expends his supply of chips on a hole, he's given a new blue chip at the start of the next hole. So Jeremiah James will be lucky this round only. Okay, so I've written that down. So we've got 2 out of the way, and they're 2 somewhat disparate things. One is an issue, the other is a perk. And that's a pretty big perk for James. That could help him a lot here throughout the day. So it's going to be Ji-Woon Ko next. Okay, 4, Clubhouse, and 6. So 4 is Clubhouse. 6, if Ko birdies the first hole, he will be sunny. Otherwise, he'll be stormy the rest of the round. So this is Bird. I'm going to put Bird Sun there on the score sheet. Got to remember that for the round. And so that usually means you're really going to try and use everything in your will to get him a birdie. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes you get a white 6, and if you do that, it's on a regular old hole. That's really tough to get a birdie out of. So lastly, it'll be Jimmy Kimes. Double 6s. He gains extra control. And we then also roll, and we'll talk about extra control in a second. We roll this to see if it's till further notice. It is. So Rafael Merez will come off. Extra control TFN. That's a pretty big roll. So let's see. Golfers with extra control gain control on all white 4 die results, regardless of the control rating of the hole. So I don't think I've ever had this before. So what that means is when we roll a hole out, we roll 4 dice and the decider die, and the white die is going to be a 6, is going to be sort of that, you could take a gimme par and get a blue chip or not. Usually, I think 5 is always hole controlled. Well, in the case of Kimes, 4 will always be golfer controlled. So he will get an extra chance per roll to have it be off his card, which will be quite helpful to him. So right down here. So I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna make some little abbreviations here, but that's where we stand right now. I'm gonna get out my little placards that have the names. I'll set up the leaderboard the way I want it, and we'll get going here in probably tomorrow night after. I don't know. At some point tomorrow night, we'll get started with this tourney. I'd like to get it rolling and get through the players. So I'll be right back with some final comments. Be right back. So, we've now done 11 on the channel here. 11 of these pre-tournament, well, not pre-tournament, but pre-final round mechanisms. I hope everybody's kind of getting a feel for how it's done. Everybody can have their own way of doing things. Some people, I think, use color coding to help notate certain things. I may do some tutorials more on how to, the way that I put things together. Some people probably pay more attention to putts and things like that for stat purposes. I don't. I think Keith at Play tries to make this game in a way that you can do a little more stat digging, but there's a little bit of work there that I'm not ready to put into it yet. I think because I'm doing a tour season, it really just behooves me to try and keep it to the simplest of stats that are basically money, tour points, scoring, and that kind of stuff. That's like the level of tracking that I really can do right now, because it can be very time consuming to do other stuff, because my spreadsheets are mostly automated, but there is some fine tuning that has to happen every time. I always end up finding some little glitches that I thought I corrected in my templates and things, and then I go back and realize I didn't correct that one, and then I go and try to correct it again, and then it's another one seems so. It's never just straightforward, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to set in this particular video, we're just trying to set up the final scoreboard, leaderboard, and get ready to go, so we can make good calls on rolling, on what kind of strategy to play for each player, how that strategy might be shaped by the issues or the perks that he has earned. And I think another thing that I may start trying to do is try to get some familiarity with the course via like a map. I have some familiarity with some of the courses. Pebble, I'm relatively familiar. Augusta, I'm relatively familiar. Augusta National, but this one is one that I should, but it's a little sketchy at times. I mean, I've played this course on Tiger Woods PGA Tour on the EA Sports game probably 100 times when I was younger, but obviously the Island Green at 17 is famous. You've got some neat par fives. You've got a lot of water all over the course. It's a dangerous course. It's a course that if you play it well, you can score. But we know already that our target score is going to be around 14 under, so we're starting at 11. We should be looking at 3 or 4 under for the leader for the round. So we'll see if we get that or not. That should be sort of our goal. Would be to try and see either Kimes get 3 under, Co 4 under, Service 5 under to get to that target score. we'll see, because each of those guys have some good traits. And I will say the other thing these guys have that I did a different tournament. I did a Slacker Tour tournament, and I had a lot of gold putters in the final round, which was really interesting. Get a lot of blue chips. In this one, the top 3 golfers are semi-rust, and so if they get clutch putts, they're going to have to either use blue chips to get themselves up to semi-gold, or they're going to be earning some red chips because they're going to miss. They're going to miss 4 out of every 6 rolls that they have on a clutch putt. So, interesting strategy here. That may make you want to go more, which that should help Kimes actually. The extra control. If you can get, you want to be taking control of holes if you're a bad clutch putter, because then a number of your clutch putts are going to be generated from the course cam and stuff like that, the golf cam course and whatnot. That's kind of where, and also the golf cam green. So if you can get control of the hole, you take some of that clutch putting aspect away. But you still do have some, because you're going to get some of that off of the golfer charts. But in any event, let's wrap this up. I'm going to set up my leaderboard. I'm going to get my scorecard kind of shined up here and get ready to play probably Friday night. So once this gets finished uploading and squared away, and I'll release it for everybody. I wanted to make sure that I did this offline. Although it is streaming, it's private. I'm going to release it, and that way anybody who hadn't seen the first part of this video will be able to see that in its entirety and then hop into this one. So thanks a lot, everybody, for sticking with me for 2 episodes for the 3rd round. Didn't really mean for it to be that way, but it's the way it goes. So until the final round, enjoy your tabletop sports. God bless. Thanks for the likes and for subscribing to the channel, and thanks for supporting us as we just keep on gaming. So thanks a lot.